Perfect. Okay, guys. So we're here with Ray. Ray, when you want to introduce yourself, where you from, what you about?
My name is Ray Fagans. I am host of the Patriots Lab podcast. I am from Jonesboro, Tennessee.
Jonesboro, Tennessee.
By way of New York City.
New York City.
Yes.
Yes, sir. And you're here with Reggie, right?
Yes, I am here with Reggie. And it's an honor and it's a privilege. Like I was letting him know, this is actually my first initial sit down to where I can actually sit back and relax and get in where I fit in and just have some good conversation with some substance about what's going on in our society for the most part in our world today.
Can you lean forward just a little bit?
What's going on in our world and society
Much better
today as a whole.
Perfect.
So we're just here to chop it up and take notes. And like I tell my followers, don't take my word for it. Do your research, draw your own conclusions, and I'm sure that you'll draw the right ones.
Yes. We need some artistic drawing out here, if you will. Not even artistic, but factual drawing, right? We need to be illustrating the facts and presenting the facts. And whether that be in an artistic manner, whether that be straightforward, we're here to deliver some of those. So what's it like in New York City being a Republican or being a Republican voter?
Well, right now, and this is just from boots on the ground that I correspond with, it's difficult, but they're waking up slowly. The more they see that they're being affected by the mandates and things of that nature, they're slowly but surely starting to turn around. The silent majority is waking up slowly but surely. It used to be a fight, but what I've found over the past year and a half is that, strangely enough, the inner city gangs, and we have to admit the gangs are the ones that control the inner cities. I mean, they do what they want. I mean, they're running rapid. The police aren't doing anything about it, so who's in control? They care. They care about their community as a whole.
Yeah.
They're going about it a different way. I tell them, you're fighting for your community, I'm fighting for our country.
Yeah.
Won't nothing change in your community until the country changes as a whole. I tell them, so you have to grasp those who don't think the way you think.
What do you mean by grasp?
You have to embrace the differences of others, especially if you're of the same color. And I talk primarily about my people because I deal with it on a daily basis.
Now, your people, are you talking about New Yorkers?
No, I'm talking about black people as a whole.
Okay.
I'm not afraid to say it.
Okay.
We need to embrace the fundamental knowledge that we are just as important here in this country as anyone else.
Okay.
So they need to start embracing the black conservatives that are there and get past the stereotypical labels of being a sellout, being an Uncle Tom, being a coon, just because you might walk different, talk different, dress different, think different. So that's the point we're at right now, and I see change. Being on a panel with
Can we pause there? Can we put that on? We were talking about waking up the black community.
Yes.
And how they do care. They just maybe going about it in a different way.
I believe.
Yeah, that's okay.
My opinion.
So you think that countries, we don't think we'll see change in the community until we see change at the federal level.
Exactly.
What's your opinion on about how Brian says, or the opinion on it starting in the community or in the home and working its way up to the federal government? Because the community is there, right? They care.
Right.
How do we elevate that community into awakening to addressing it at a federal level?
Well, we have to be able to first recognize both sides of the situation, because I've had to do that myself. We have to realize and understand that there are people that have been put in a system and in a situation that they can't get out of. There are some that choose not to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some like me and others that not only have chosen to get out, but have remained out.
That's good.
It's to be honest with you, when you talk about situations like this, it's kind of hard because you have to really find the words to say, because at least the way I think, people should already know this. They should already be aware. So I get frustrated when it comes to the game of they need to wake up.
Yeah.
They need to do this. No. I see no different than the next man. I just choose to react differently in a positive way.
So you think that people are aware, they're just acting in a different way as you?
Well, like you said earlier, they might be afraid to come out of the shadows.
Yes.
You know,
yeah.
I deal with a lot of keyboard warriors.
Mm-hmm.
A lot who are quick to criticize and say how they would do something and this and that, but yet they're nowhere to be found.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I still, for some reason, and once again, this is my personal humble opinion, not taking any credit away from anyone, but for a nation of 381 million plus people, this racetrack, you can't tell me we can't sustain 3,000 people at once, even with people rotating in and rotating out. That just lets me know society really isn't taking the threat seriously. They really aren't. Either they are taking it seriously, and shame on them for putting the burden on the backs of the truckers.
Yes. I can interject there, but go on.
Shame on them.
Keep going.
Suppose the truckers lose this fight because they have no one to back them. You know, so I say this to the people out there that are watching this now and that will be watching this later. The time is now.
Seriously.
The time is now. There's no other time. There's no other time. The time is not tomorrow, because you might wake up and you might not be living under that flag of freedom if you keep doing what you're doing by not doing anything. So
now is the time to take action.
yes.
Now is the time. For me, and for a lot of people out here, it's now or never. You know, in this same trailer about a week ago, a hippie mom said, you know, if you don't speak up, your voice is never going to get heard. So we got to speak up. All right?
That's right.
Lean in.
I hear
Dig
you.
your heels in. Get your voice heard. Okay? It's time to get out here if you can. If you can't get out here, watch the live streams. Okay? Watch the stuff on YouTube. Support the live streams. Like, subscribe, share. We need the algorithms to help us out. We have to use the devil's instruments against them. Look, we have millions of dollars, Ray, like of lobbyist money, like millions and millions of dollars trying to control online conspiracy theories via the domestic terrorism bulletin that was issued February 7th. I mean, if anybody's watching, I'll bring it up and I'll bring it up and I'll bring it up, because we have to be aware of this, that we are fighting large entities who are trying to control the narrative. Okay? So, you was talking about New York and how, you know, there's a lot of online keyboard warriors and how people are more apt to speak negatively or speak at all when they're hiding behind a screen. So tell me a little bit about this board that you were about to mention before we had to
About which one?
the phone call. So the board that you were on with like 50-50 negative.
Oh yes, I mean, I've had the privilege, and shout out to 050 and the movement, China Brim. Peace.
What's up, y'all? I'm Alex, by the way. Hey.
That's Alex. But I've had the pleasure of attending one meeting on China Brim's podcast, the 050 The Movement, and I didn't know what to anticipate, but come to find out, they welcomed me with open arms. We thought alike, but we didn't think alike. If you can understand what I'm saying.
Could you elaborate just a little bit more, maybe? Whatever you're.
They were tired of the rise in crime in their neighborhoods, in their inner cities. They were tired of the mandates and things of that nature. They were tired of everything that the everyday Americans should be
concerned about. Yeah.
But they want to change without initiating or interacting with the government. Yes. And I tell them, you have to be at these city council meetings. I'm not telling you to change your dress. Come as you are, but come respectful. Mm-hmm.
With an open mind.
With an open mind.
There's a lot to learn.
Yes.
I don't know everything. I got a lot to learn myself.
Yes. Find out where your tax dollars are going.
Mm-hmm.
Demand community centers be reopened or built. If you want safe havens for your children, you're not going to get that by yourself. Even Martin Luther King Jr. had to sit down with LBJ during the civil rights movement, a black and a white man.
Mm-hmm.
For what? To get something accomplished.
Freedom.
They didn't have to be friends. They didn't have to get along.
Common goals.
Get it accomplished. Go your ways.
Common ground. Yeah.
That's it.
So you remember earlier when we were standing next to Reggie's tent?
Mm.
I was like, man, this guy in my chat earlier, he was like, I couldn't even get on the city bus. I couldn't even get on the city bus without wearing a mask. Public transportation, I couldn't even get on the bus for not wearing a mask. What was the reference that we were talking about there? Well, what does that remind you of?
Slavery.
Rosa Parks in particular.
Yeah.
And that might be a very emotional and touchy subject for people. But I encourage you to embrace those emotions. Embrace those emotions, because right now is modern segregation. It's vax versus unvax. They're trying to pit white versus black. They're trying to pit Democrats versus Republicans. They're trying to pit borders versus open borders, men versus women. The list goes on. We could talk about it all day. But unification is key, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a team to make it. It's going to take unification. Tell me more about how there is like a 50-50 split, at least from your perspective, on what people have to say about these current events. From a New York perspective or a black perspective or anything like that.
Well, I'm finding out that, for one, we're aware of what's going on. And for two, I finally see us activating ourselves. We might be behind a little bit on how it gets done. But what I'm finding is you still have the percentage out there that for some reason. Now I'm not saying I'm the brightest bulb in the box.
We all have room for growth.
But I might not articulate it the right way, the perfect way. But what I'm saying is factual. So when you still have people that refuse for one reason or another to, I don't even want to say not accept what you're saying, but not even willing to go and do their due diligence.
Yes.
But are quick to judge.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And quick to give their opinions.
Yes.
Those are the ones that I don't like. And you can tell by the comments.
Yeah.
You can tell by the
Well,
comments.
dude, there's like, and it's from what I've seen, there's an orchestrated cyber attack going on against the media that's here and such. But go on.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell by the comments that this individual has. Are you even listening to the same conversation? You know, so they're out there, and they've always been in existence, and they'll always be in existence. My primary goal every day is to just reach one.
Being a magistrate or a leader, be one, reach one, and teach one.
That's right. That's it. That's it.
Shout out to I can't remember her name, but you know what I'm talking about, who gave that speech in New York not too long ago? She said, "There's no time to be comfortable. You can't listen to a speech.
Black
go
woman.
home." Yes. She's a lawyer.
I forgot her name. Yeah, she is. I forgot her name.
Yeah. We can't get comfortable, right? We can't listen to this, get emotion, and then go eat food and go to sleep and forget about it.
That's right.
Like you said earlier, now's the time.
Now's the time.
So, what would you have to say to somebody that's on the more left-leaning side, that is curious and does have an open mind, that's willing to hear what we're doing here, or why we're out here fighting for freedom?
As soon as you hear any notion of what's going on, whether it be in your country or in the world, go and educate yourself, because you will get a different story from every individual that you talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And then you will know what not. You won't know what to believe. Google could be your best friend. DuckDuckGo. There are plenty of resources out there. And what you do to just be comfortable with your conclusion, you use multiple resources. And if it's right, they'll all close in on that.
You put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah, they'll all close in on it, and then you can be like, all right, well, this one came from this angle, this one came from, but they all came to the same point. Mm-hmm. Okay, now I got it.
And if you've noticed, I don't know if you've like when people do, like, because I can tell you do your due diligence, right? So from my end, I've like been looking up article here, article there, and it's funny because like I'll look at some of these major media outlets, and they're like regurgitating the same stuff, like
right.
almost verbatim, you know. Now whether or not that's because they're in cahoots together, or they just all only have a select amount of information to work with, but if you look at the wording, they all kind of like, even like when I was looking up stuff here, like when they're sending the National Guard to DC, some of the wording that these governors were using was so-called freedom convoy, and it's just they try to find little ways to delegitimize us. Mm-hmm. But I think it's funny how they kind of stick to the same story, and they use the wording. I look at the wording that they use, and you know, when you're doing your due diligence and you're looking up each one of these individual topics, I think it's, you know, it's good to understand that you have to put those pieces of the puzzle together, because I feel like we're only getting little bits of information here and there, and
right.
You know, like 2 years ago, if you said masks don't work, you would have got taken off of social media, right? The Ukraine thing's going on right now. I'm not even going to get into it. I'm waiting for more facts to come out, right? We're here focused on freedom. Okay, we're here to stop tyrannical overreach. It is time for the American people and people around the world to get their choice of medical decisions back to themselves, and operating under recommendation versus forceful imposition. You know, it's time. Like that lady said, this is medical rape. Right?
It is.
Getting penetrated against your will is medical rape.
It is. Would you allow someone to force you to sit down at a table and play Russian roulette?
No. And you know, I've actually had somebody do that to me drunk one night, and it freaked me out. We almost got in a fight.
That's where we're at. That's where we're at with this medical situation.
Mm-hmm.
They're literally forcing you to sit down and play Russian roulette.
Yeah. So, with an experimental vaccine, and that's why. You know, there has been some issues with those, whether it be small by media standards compared to the overall numbers or not.
Right.
Right? I mean, George Floyd, that was just one person that died, and it sparked a huge revolution. Right? Whether or not I agree with everything that movement was about or not, like I bought a gas mask when it first happened. I was ready to go.
Right.
But once I started to see where they were going with that, I was like, no. Hold up.
Right.
You
We're all ready to go to the front lines until you sit back and able to collectively as a whole figure out. See, and what you did, you have foresight.
I just know who I am, and I know that what they were representing does not represent the Caucasian community as a whole.
Right.
Right. Because you could look at any ethnicity, whether they be Chinese or whatever, and there's bad people on both sides.
Right.
Like, we need to end the CCP too.
That's right.
Like that, the Chinese Communist Party needs to go.
That's right.
Right. So there's bad people everywhere around the world, and the internet has bridged that negativity from those more communistic Marxist leadership countries back into our politics via lobbying and money.
Right.
Right. Follow the money, like you said. Where do you think we should go from here as far as like what the convoy should be doing? We're not going to talk about anything tomorrow, but
well, once again, my personal humble opinion, I give credit where credit is due. Just to get this far is an amazing feat in itself.
yes.
It's a huge accomplishment. Credit to Brian and his fellow organizers. But at a certain point, within the lines legally, you have to be willing to push the boundaries. Mm-hmm. You have to. And that's happened in every movement. Mm-hmm. Every movement, there comes a time that you have to affect change. I wouldn't want to call it being radical, but you have to do everything within your legal constitutional rights.
And stay humble.
And
keep the love in the forefront.
And they haven't done that yet. So that's my only discouragement. Because we're dealing in a different situation now. We're dealing with people's livelihoods, financially, family-wise. In my humble opinion, you just can't expect people to stay out in the desert for a undisclosed amount of time.
That's a good way to put it.
So when are you going to push the boundaries
when you
to the
push
legal
back?
limit?
Or when are you going to push back?
Do you think when they did the bus boycotts and things of that nature, a little bit by little bit, it affected the bus system back then?
Mm-hmm.
No, but once black people got together, along with white people,
yes, unify. Yes,
there were a lot of white people that drove black people to work that stood up for the same thing.
We fought a war over it. We fought a war over it, like bloodshed, tears, heartache. I mean, there was white people, black people, all of them. The North won.
That's right.
And I hope to God we don't have to end up in that situation again.
Because there are two sides.
Right now, yes.
And
there has been a divide created.
Yes. And if somebody keep telling you your significant other has been cheating on you, and you're mad at him or her, and you've been mad at them for weeks, and you just haven't had the because
to hash it out.
Yeah, or bring it up because you don't want to deal with it.
Or the balls to whatever. Yeah,
and then one night you do bring it up.
And it's been festering.
And now you find out that it's not true.
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to wake up tomorrow?
I see it, yeah.
And still be mad at her about what you've heard after you found out it wasn't true?
It's possible. It's possible. You could be doubting whether or not she's lying.
No, if you get confirmation from other people,
okay.
Even if you get confirmation from the person that they were supposed to been with, and that person's significant other is like, no, they were with me. There's no way that
that's okay.
You know,
right?
And it's been pinpointed a date weekend.
The facts came out.
Well, you said 16, 17, 18.
Yeah.
But the wife or the husband of so and so said that they were with them. Why would they lie for them?
Right. So it's like solidified.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Like misunderstanding.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be that. Somebody can say that your significant other is cheating, and just so happens one day, to keep it fair, you find a pair of boxers for a woman finds a pair of boxers never seen before. Man finds a bra he never seen before, or you know what I mean, or you find your significant other finds somebody's identification or wallet in your car after being out all night or something like that. That there, okay, gives you signs of doubt. But once confirmation is made,
especially with somebody you trust.
Yes, right. There's no your job is to then go back to being
humble,
that sigh of relief.
Peace of mind.
Yes, you know, whoo, girl, I was gonna kill you. I was gonna, you know. But yeah, you know, I like to put things in what do they call it? Not scenarios, but
theoretically, or
what's the word?
Theoretically.
No, not theoretically. When you put stuff in a different scenario to make sense for something, I like
different perspective.
Yeah, I like to put things in a different perspective because a lot of people sometimes, and I can only go by my opinion, when I talk, they can't understand. So when I switch it over and try to break it down to where they can understand, believe it or not, some people think I'm trying to make them feel dumb. And then some people accept it. So it's crazy how no matter what you do, you're always going to have that divide.
Yeah. Well, I want to jump back to what you said about the relationship thing. I thought that was very interesting, and I would like to piggyback on that. So you said sometimes, you know, you could be mad for 3 weeks before you find out, solidifying that, yes, you know, she was with your best friend or something, and you trust them, or whatever. You know, maybe she was with one of your best, like a girl, like one of her girlfriends that you are also really good friends with, or something along those lines.
Right.
Someone you trust, but like, you know, Trump. Okay. Now, this isn't about Trump. We're not here for politics, but I will say that as far as like waking people up or people that are mad about something that they might have been letting fester in their mind, it took them 5 years to come out with a Durham report. It's not even done. Okay, so let's just say this. Trump, every single American had a relationship with Trump. He was our president. Okay, so when you found out, you thought he was cheating with Russia for 5 years, right? Come to find out, he wasn't. So are you still going to be mad at him, Democrats? Anybody that hated on him? Are you going to be mad at him? Right? Can we forgive? Can we let it go? Can we admit we were wrong? And can we move on? And unify on one common goal, like you said, like. Most New Yorkers, do you think they agree with these mandates, whether it be vaccine, mask, digital ID? What do you think the majority of what's your experience like in New York with these mandates?
It's bad from what I hear. I also co-host. Shout out to DJ Brenda Black. You can catch us every Tuesday and Friday from 8 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. DJ Brenda Black on YouTube and Facebook. Hi, girl. Sorry I missed the shows this week, but you know what I'm doing.
Go check her out, y'all.
It hasn't changed. You get people because they hear the mandates have dropped. They automatically assume it's covering. It's covering every establishment, every government. Yes,
that's the articulation that I look at in these articles.
But they don't tell you about the people that are losing their jobs because they're refusing. Or people that are quitting their jobs
because they're refusing.
Right under the rug. Yes. Everything is under the rug. When is the last time we've heard our politicians talk about our people over in Afghanistan that were left behind? Why isn't that number one on any administration's agenda in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
This morning we want to give prayers to the families of the American citizens that are over there. We're doing our best to get them back. We have channels. We're working through this. Nothing. These are our citizens that, and I know there are families that are writing letters after letters and phone calls after phone calls to their local officials, and
thank you, by the way, keep doing it.
To not even get up in the morning and acknowledge it,
mm-hmm.
it shows you the state that our country is in right now.
Yes, people need to wake up and acknowledge it. Look,
I try to do every time. Prayers to the families.
That's why you're out here.
Rest in peace.
You're out here. You're out here waking up thinking about it every day because you're here.
Right.
Right. How much sleep did you get last night? If you don't mind me asking.
3 hours.
3 hours. I got 4. Right, because we got up. We got a job to do. This man records. He streams. Okay, so check him out. What's your handle?
You can find me at the Patriots Lab on all major platforms. YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, Twitter, MeWe, Getter. I'm 380,000 on True Social. So once I upgrade, and it works out good because I only got an Android. So by the time I get down to 1,000, I might have upgraded by then.
So do you think it's time for people to forgive Trump?
You forgive people that have done things wrong.
I'm sorry?
You forgive people that have done things wrong.
Interesting way to put it.
Why am I going to forgive him for the Russia collusion and he
didn't do nothing wrong?
So what is there to be forgiven about? Am I going to forgive him for the lowest unemployment for my people or for women or for Latinos? Am I going to forgive him for that? Am I going to forgive him for the lowest inflation
rate.
or
unemployment? Yeah,
unemployment. I mean, now don't get it wrong. The man's not an angel. The man's not a saint. The man's not perfect. But
he's doing a good job.
That's all I respect him for. I could care less what that man does in his personal life. It's just that he is a billionaire. He's famous. And when you have that type of status, everything you do is going to be open and criticized by the public, the world, whatever.
Yes.
And like always, you're going to have those who love you and those who hate you. But to be put on stage and betrayed and to
sanction from society.
Yes,
online social media.
That goes above and beyond what is supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. So that right there is plenty of red flag enough for me.
Okay, so there is one problem that I have with Donald Trump, and it's Operation Warp Speed. What do you think about Operation Warp Speed? Because they got the state of emergency was put in place, and Operation Warp Speed was started under Trump's presidency.
Yes.
So what's your opinion on Operation Warp Speed?
Well, I'll say it short like this, and I'm sure your followers will get it, and you will too.
Mm-hmm.
Trump's not a scientist. He's not a forensics guy. Trump wasn't the one who went out there and said, hey, I went out there and found it. I got it. Trump is a smart man. Trump relied on scientists.
The CDC.
Trump relied on CDC.
WHO.
FDA. WHO.
Yep. Fauci.
As a man of principle, he knew his country was in dire need
something.
Mm-hmm.
Help. Hope.
He forced them. He made them. You come up with something and you come up with something fast. He didn't know that they was going to boogie rig it or put something out there that wasn't good for humanity or that had side effects that could have long-term effects. He didn't know that. He said, hey.
That we know of, but I don't think so either.
I mean, well, the reason I say that is because I judge. See, you gotta be able to judge a person's character and how a person moves.
I'm just saying that I'm open. Like I support Trump. I voted for
Right.
Trump, but I'm just saying that's my issue. And if there is, like, we're looking for accountability out here with the response to COVID, and if it comes out that he did know anything about that or anything along those lines, and there's accountability that needs to be held there.
Well, he has to
Then
go down too.
I will hold him to the flame.
Oh yeah, he has to go down too.
Because I do not like that the state of emergency was declared under his presidency, and I really don't like the Operation Warp Speed because it's set up for us to get mandated.
It was
and
bad.
It's set up, so I don't like that. And it was supposed to be 2 weeks for the spread, but I do, like you said, I do think that he was influenced by the CDC, WHO, FDA,
Yes.
Fauci, all of them.
Yes.
And like you said, he's not a scientist, but you know what? He was promoting hydroxychloroquine when it first started.
Yes.
Okay, and from what I understand, it could be used as a preventative measure. Now, hopefully I don't get censored for that, but that's okay. Yeah, so, I mean, any more thoughts on where you think he could have done better there, or what we could do better with...
The only thing I can criticize my president for is his rhetoric. But we have to sit back and understand, when the American people voted for Donald Trump, they voted for a president. They didn't vote for somebody to hold a how can I say, a politically correct party.
Mm-hmm.
The world, the nation knew who Donald Trump was years before he was. They knew he was a player. They knew about his swag. They knew how he got down. They knew who he hung around. And when you're in that type of life, you move a different way. You talk a different way. And that's what he brought to the presidency.
Mm-hmm.
See, the way he moved and the way he spoke was all well and good before he was president. There's nothing none of his language or anything, the way he carried himself, changed. Not a bit. If anything, when he got into the Oval Office, it intensified. He, like Emerald, he kicked it up a notch. So, could he have said things better? Of course. But sometimes I don't always judge a man by what they say. I judge a person by their actions, and I look into their heart, and I look into their soul. Because at the end of the day, that overrides all his English miscues, said not the right way, or
That's just a bunch of baloney. That's like the wording in those articles when they called this a so-called convoy. They're just looking. It's gaslighting, right? We've been seeing it for years. But I will say that the country and the world was under extreme duress when Operation Warp Speed started. And I think he was under a lot of pressure by all those entities, and the fact that people, he didn't know where it was going to go, and he didn't want to shut down the country. People looked at him like he was killing people for not shutting down the country. When come to find out, we're killing people if we did shut down the country. Probably more, because when you impact somebody's livelihood, and if they're not able to support themselves or provide for their families, you might as well. I mean, what do you have, right? When this world sadly revolves around money, income, and finances, and economic prosperity, right? So
he looked at it totally different, because he's been grinding since day one.
5, 6, 7 guys.
To where, in my personal
Just
opinion,
take a
our
day.
politicians
Start
have
out
been
with one
pocketing.
day.
They haven't
Listen,
been
guys,
grinding.
you
They
know
probably
what?
haven't
Instead of playing
grinding
that
since
2
they was
hours
on the
Call of
local
Duty,
Oh, they're in
level.
fundraising meetings. They're
Meet me
calling
down at
people,
Town
trying to
Center.
raise
Meet
money
me
all the
down at
time.
City Hall.
Hey,
Trump's busy
We
building his
just gonna-
brand,
we gonna stand out
making
there
his
and speak
bread,
to the
not
people who run the
trying to see
district.
what
Because you gotta
companies he
remember,
can
they
build
work
and rip
for you.
apart and then take the profit from, and this and
You got a
that.
4 hours
job.
of sleep last night.
You
Now, don't
know?
go up there if you ain't got
So,
no job. Talking about, well,
you know,
my
people-
mama work. No. If you got a
I don't know
job,
what stage is
you
next,
paying
because we went.
taxes,
I think I went through the first stage
their
of shock.
salary.
Is this
Yes.
really happening?
Demand
To
answers.
mad because it's happening.
Demand accountability.
Yes.
To
There are so
laughable because I got tired of crying and
many,
being
Jonathan
sad.
Garcia, running for governor. State
To
of
where
Georgia.
at this present
Young
point,
man. I call him Seabiscuit. Because in all reality, we know he
It's-
has a long shot.
it's hard to put into
And
words.
we know 9 times out
It's
of 10
like-
he's not going to make the
it's
governorship
like
because he's
you're-
dealing with names and corporations.
It's
and
like three
just
guys.
dealing with the system.
You're walking home
But
and
did that stop
you're
him?
walking down a dark street,
No.
and three
But what
guys
he's
are following
found
you,
is
and you're trying to get away, but
There
the
are
turn you
people
take
that do
walking
believe
down
in him.
is an alley.
And he has picked up.
And you find that out when you get
many
down there,
of
and then
supporters.
you turn around and get out, and the
So
three guys
he
coming
might
out.
not
Well, what's
have
going
the
through your
governorship
head?
right now.
All kind
Now
of
he's
crap
gonna
is
run for
going
city
through your
council
head.
and city
Escape
mayor,
routes, and not
city
just one.
ordinance guy or
You'd be
something.
surprised how many
Because he's
escape
already
routes
built
come
up
in
that
an instant.
just wasn't enough to
In an
get him.
instant.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
Now, 5
roof
years from
there,
now,
great.
5 years
You know,
from now,
fire escape, whatever.
You run the
So,
same playbook
You know, it's
for that gubernatorial shit.
at that point to where it's just like,
Now you have a community.
what is it
behind
going to
you.
take? Because you've pushed
Then you'll
us
have a state-
almost
a
to that
state behind you,
wall,
then you have other
and you're
things,
coming
you know.
in closer.
We can't
The
just
divide is
leave,
there,
like,
man.
like,
when you
like
see
were
it, when we go
saying,
downtown,
I got so many
they're
names in
flipping
my
out
head,
the
so
American
many
flag.
I heard there were
Now-
veterans out there flipping the
I gotta start
convoy
giving them
off.
nicknames
Oh my
for you
gosh.
who've been
Yes!
Great.
Poor lady came crying yesterday, matter of fact.
Alexander the Great. Thank you. See, he answered that.
People,
for some reason I can
Patriots.
remember the nicknames, but I can't remember the real names.
Anybody that knows me here knows I find
All of us out here can't be crazy.
I generally do pretty.
All of those people standing on them overpasses.
Yeah, but I appreciate
Helping
you
our
journey
giving me
across the
opportunity
country.
and sitting down, being able to
We
talk
all
it
can't
up
be crazy.
with you.
Now, we all
And,
might be
giving your
deplorables,
followers and my
but we
followers an
all can't be
opportunity to,
crazy.
You know, listen in and,
So
and
I just plead to you guys,
insight on what we're dealing with.
the younger men
Yes.
of the 18 and up,
The
because I
more-
want you to be I want you to be legally responsible. It's time to stand up, man.
We're trying to do this through legislation. Okay, there's a process. There's a process. Like with General Electric, like you have to file an internal appeal, then you have to file with the EEOC, and then you go through that process. There's like a mediation process, and then an investigation process. Well, actually, I should say there's an investigation process, and then there's a mediation process, and then they issue a right to sue letter, and then you can take them, you file a lawsuit, take them to court. If you lose that, you can file for an appeal in court, take it to a higher court, you know. And so there's steps that we're trying to take to where we're not just cowboying it out here. Okay, it's going to be a slow, drawn out process. So you guys are going to have time to save your money and get your butts out here, and I encourage you to do that. And I encourage you to rally in your own states. You know, I have a friend from New York. She's here, and is New York? Do you know of anything happening in New York as far as rallying and organizing in New York City?
I'm not sure, but when I get back with my contacts and with the platforms that I'm on, I'm sure I'll be updated on what's been going on. Shout out to the great state of Tennessee. Because I live in such a great state.
Oh, are you living in Tennessee?
Yes.
Right? Oh, okay. So,
Yes.
but you lived in New York. before.
Oh yeah, I was
sorry.
born and raised in New York. I left New York when I was 17 years old.
Okay.
Moved to Tennessee. Did my 3 years in high school at David Crockett High School in Jonesboro. Shout out to y'all. And then I went off and started my military career. Served aboard the USS Nimitz. Worked for captain, now retired admiral. That was awesome. Stayed up in Washington State for about 20 years. Then moved to Virginia Beach. Lived in Virginia Beach for 18 years. And that's where I raised my kids. I have a 23-year-old and a 20-year-old. Deeply grounded into the church. My oldest is a youth pastor at the church, and my youngest is a soon-to-be director of tech, but he is just initiating himself into the technical aspects of audio and sound and things of that nature. So I'm very proud of them young men. Shout out to Braxton and Zarian. Keep grinding. Keep God first. All the other stuff, you already know. But I forgot where I was going. I sound like a trucker G. That happens when you have so much stuff wound up in your brain. It's very easy to lose focus. It's very easy. But what were we talking about? Here? We were talking about somewhere here, I believe.
Dang, I forgot too.
See?
Shoot. I was just listening to you do your thing.
But y'all really need to get up here. Y'all really need to get up here.
Shout out to the younger generation.
Yeah.
The younger generation, because, you know, like, and no offense, but, you know, I was there too. Like, I didn't start really digging into this stuff until I was 26. You know, and I'm 32 now.
Right.
And so it's been about 6 years, and once you like kind of realize what's going on, it's hard to look away in good faith. So, if you have a soul, that is. And I was impressionable, right? I was impressionable. I didn't really understand what was going on. My focus was elsewhere. Right? I was playing video games, hollering at girls, drinking, partying, whatever it was, you know. And what we're here for is more important than I even realize at times.
Right.
Sometimes I, even being here, like, kind of lose sight of the importance and everything of that. And then sometimes it will just hit me like bam, and I've teared up 4 times since I've been here, man. You know, like, because people will tell me their stories, and it might not sink in right then and there, and then I'll get to thinking about it, and then somebody else will tell me a story, and it just kind of hits me at once sometimes, you know, because I'm go.
Right.
I'm getting stuff done. I'm helping the convoy. I'm doing my thing. I'm talking to people. I'm getting to know people. I'm taking showers. You know what I mean? Anyways, but yeah, shout out to the younger generation, man. You know, they need to.
I think they sit back and they hear somebody say, "We're fighting for our freedom,"
and they don't understand what that freedom
No,
is.
they're like, "You're crazy. What are you talking about?
Freedom.
This is America.
It's a free country." Oh, okay.
How many times have you got shut down on it?
Stop paying your property tax, and you tell me if you own that house or if this is a free country. You stop paying your taxes and see if this is a free country or not. Okay, you know what I'm saying? You stop paying your taxes, they're gonna come take your house. You stop paying your property tax. That is, they're gonna come take your house.
No, just if you want to go somewhere that requires a mask, and you used to love that restaurant, and they no longer let you in there, and you've given them maybe tens of thousands of dollars of business over, say, a 5-year period. You know, eating that steak, shrimp, and filet mignon, you know, and all of a
I'm
sudden,
gonna have to end this right now.
all of a sudden you're like, Mr. James, I'm sorry, and you're like, Alicia, and Alicia's like, you don't have your card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't get on the bus because you don't got your mask.
Do you know how much money I've put into this transit system?
Mm-hmm.
I've been riding the public transit system
You know how many taxes we paid, federal government? You know how many taxes we paid throughout just the people here or the people on the overpasses? Okay, y'all are about to lose some money, okay, because we're done with it. We're tired of it. Okay? Anyways, preach, brother. Anything that you'd like to add? Or
Well, to close out, I'd just like to, once again, because this is how important it is. If you can't get here, get somewhere.
help out, share, like, subscribe.
I'm here in
organize.
Hagerstown, Maryland. But if things go the way I hope they go, I'll be somewhere else in a whole different state come tomorrow morning. Won't tell you what state that is, though.
It'd be on the Atlantic Ocean where there's no regulations.
Get there.
I'm just kidding.
Get there. If you sit on Xbox, because I know my sons play, and they play with like 5, 6, 7 guys. Just take a day. Start out with one day. And say, guys, you know what? Instead of playing that 2 hours of Call of Duty that you normally hook up for, yo, meet me down at Town Center. Meet me down at City Hall. And we just gonna stand out there, ask to speak to the people who run my district, because you gotta remember, they work for you. You got a job? Now don't go up there if you ain't got no job talking about, well, my mama work. No, if you got a job and you're paying taxes, you're contributing to their salary.
Yes.
Demand answers.
Yes.
Demand accountability.
Yes.
There are so many. Jonathan Garcia, running for governor, state of Georgia. Young man. I call him Seabiscuit. Because in all reality, we know he has a long shot. And we know 9 times out of 10, he's not going to make the governorship because he's dealing with names and corporations and just dealing with the system. Mm-hmm. But did that stop him? No. But what he's found is there are people that do believe in him. And he has picked up many of supporters. So he might not have the governorship right now. Bet you bottom dollar he can run for city councilman, city mayor, city ordinance guy or something, because he's already built up that name recognition. It just wasn't enough to get him to the pinnacle where he was. Now, 5 years from now, I told him, 5 years from now, you run the same playbook for that gubernatorial shit. Now you have a community behind you. Then you'll have a city behind you. Then you have other things. You know, we can't just leap like he was saying. Oh, I got so many names in my head. What's your name again?
Alex.
I got to start giving them nicknames for you who've been following me.
Alexander the Great.
Boom. Thank you.
That'll help you.
That's it. Alexander the Great. Thank you. See, he answered that. I don't for some reason I can remember the nicknames, but I can't remember the real names.
Anybody that knows me here knows I find with nicknames, and I generally do pretty good remember names. Isn't that right, Ray?
Yeah. But I appreciate you, man, just giving me the opportunity and sitting down, being able to chop it up with you, and giving your followers and my followers an opportunity to, listen in and get a insight on what we're dealing with.
Relationship building, communication, open forum.
Yeah, how we're dealing with it. And just how we keep lifting each other up. How we keep lifting each other up. But yeah, you young guys, y'all get out there, man. Y'all get out there. I encourage you.
Shout out. Yes, the young guys. Anything else you'd like to add? Because if there's not, I got something to say.
Hey, y'all already know. Make a gang. Gang.
Hey, look. As far as the Call of Duty comment earlier with them young guys, look, I used to be a professional Call of Duty player, 13th in the world for dubs on MLG, okay? Look, I know how addicting it can be, okay? It's fun. I love it. I'm a quick scoper. I use subs. I'm a running gunner, okay? My handle was Don't Panic, bro. I probably fucking shot your ass up back in my day. But in any case, like, I encourage y'all to get off the games and get out, get some fresh air, and just do something more productive, because these World of Warcraft warriors and all that, they're spending months and hours into video games and not contributing, and then they end up with these opinions on things that they know nothing about because their friends are involved with it. So Ray, I really appreciate your time. Seriously, man.
It's always been a pleasure, man. We've been rocking since day one, bro. Since we've been here. Mm-hmm. And that's what it's all about, man. One spirit up here. One love, man. One color.
Hey, we're American people. And real quick though, that actually never mind.
No, go ahead. You can't keep it boiled up.
Remember. It was one of the first things you said, and I couldn't remember what I wouldn't be able to verbatim it.
Okay. Because it'd be, and see, that's still gonna be burning you up all day. You'll find me.
Oh, you know what it was?
There you
You
go.
know what it was? You said something about your people, and I asked you if it was like New Yorkers and you said I wasn't afraid to say it. It's black people. Well, we are Americans. I have that wrote on my car, right? Mm-hmm. And if we take that "we are Americans" concept and we replace the word Americans with humans, right? We can take that globally, okay? And it doesn't matter where you came from, okay? Whatever. We're all humans. We all have this like humanitarian law where murder is bad, right? Like, just no matter where you're at, what language you speak, whatever language barrier there is, like that's. And wouldn't you agree that generally like 99% of people would say like murder is bad?
Yes.
Right. So like there's these common humanitarian things like medical freedom, right? Or murder or whatever that we can unify under. Look, Australia is if you're participating in a freedom protest, you're getting put in jail and extradited from society, and your bank accounts are getting frozen, and you're done. They're like it's modern segregation, and it needs to stop. That's all I got.
Never thought we'd be living in these days, brother. But if not us, who?
It's time to take a stand, brother.
You got that right.
Give me a hug, dude.
Yes.
Okay.
Hug it out. Hug it out. Hug it out. Love you, bro. Love you, bro.